I speak from my own experiences. I'm like, okay, this is what has worked for me. And I
Yeah.
take a very transparent approach. I tell
Yeah.
them exactly how I've done everything. I show them exactly how much I've earned, even give them little tips on like negotiating a higher salary on your yacht, using
Mhm.
certain negotiation tactics to go speak to your captain.
Welcome to the Yacht Captain Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Kidd, where every week we dive deep into conversations with real estate pros, business owners, and maritime professionals about their mindset and journey to success. Please help support us on our journey and our channel by liking, subscribing, and commenting below so we can help you on yours.
Some need a plan to help get them out of debt. Some need to start investing. Some don't even have a working bank account. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting case study, and it's my first attempt at monetization also, and took a bit of a risk. You obviously gave me your feedback on the
Yeah.
pay what you feel.
Was that helpful? Because I know you were going to be producing like a large amount of value, and like I just want to make sure that you're getting, what you need for the time you're spending, because you're trading value for time.
100%. And yeah, the first week at least so far, I've remained with the model, and I've been very pleasantly surprised. People are paying more than I would have set the minimum amount at.
Great, man.
I think the value is there. I'll structure it more as it grows, and I think eventually, if it scales to an amount of people that I help that I can't necessarily take anymore, then I'll start looking at maybe something like a subscription based,
Well,
where I can.
that and you should definitely do subscription base, and also maybe do a mastermind.
Yeah, 100%. So
And
what
then
I've
the group coaching, where Q&As and stuff. And no, that's definitely, because that's kind of the model that works, and you obviously have enough traction. You just want to really optimize it, and then really add that value, because you're obviously helping a lot of people, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's I felt the same thing like when I started the podcast. I was like, why didn't I do this like years ago?
Yeah,
It's because I
yeah,
like it. I get to meet so many people, and then it's like attracting the people that I really want to be around, and be people that are doing like some pretty amazing things and stuff, and just it just keeps getting better, man. I mean,
exactly. And your podcast is great. You've been getting some really cool people on there, so kudos to you.
yeah, thanks, man. I'm only trying to just add quality, add value. Did I tell you I had Dr. Benjamin Hardy on there?
No, I didn't see that.
No, it's not out yet. His book is coming out. His new book is coming out in end of July. So probably gonna do his podcast around that same time. And he's going to be
Cool.
sending me copies of his new book. I'll put you down. I'll send you a copy of his book.
Awesome.
It's called Scaling. It's a short read. You'll read it fast, but it's really helpful. It was helpful to me because it just, the main thing I got from it was, what was it again? Complicated doesn't scale. It has to be, simplicity can scale.
Gotta be.
So like what you're doing, just by keeping it simple, you're going to be able to get a lot of traction and stuff. And
I love it. I can already tell with all the different branches that the yachting investor has taken, the only paths that work are the simple ones, where it's like, there's remove all the friction, have something that's very, very generic in a way.
Yeah.
And then kind of go into the minutiae and the nuts and bolts for each.
Yeah, you can always
person.
detail it. An older guy told me one time, he said, look, a lot of times we try to build out the business first, build out the clients first, and figure out all the stuff. Because if you don't have the revenue, you don't have a business. It might be a great idea, but if you don't have any money coming in, it's not a business. It's a hobby.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, so that's no, I'm really happy, proud of you, man. You're doing well, man. It's what you've done so far is helping a lot of people, and I think the space we're both in is the education space of, like, because people need to be better at financial decisions and stuff, and just kind of realize that they can do it also. I think a lot of people don't get started because they just don't think they can do it. I think it's a lot more complicated than it is.
Yeah.
It just starts with a little bit of money at a time.
And it's I can see firsthand. I love the one-on-one sessions because I get to really, because the newsletter has a sense of personal, like it's personal, and I'm explaining concepts as simple as I can. But in the one-on-one calls, I can really tell when someone makes a breakthrough. Yesterday, I was speaking to a student, and she really struggled to grasp the concept of what an index fund is or what an ETF is. So I used a bunch of different analogies and ended up finding the right one. And I could just see it in her face. She was like, "Oh, wow, okay, you buy a tiny piece of all 500
companies. Yeah.
Yeah, so that, like, that part of it I really like. And it's forcing me to be accountable, to carry on educating myself.
Yeah.
Because, I can't, when I get questions, a lot of people are from different nationalities, they have different tax obligations. Yeah. So then it's important for me to go do the research, or at least go find a partner that, is a specialist in that category. I'm like, okay, you help Kiwis with taxes and setting up businesses, then let me connect you with them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've done also. It's really good because then, you don't need to be the expert in all of it, because you can't be. I have a couple of guys that are CPAs that help foreign nationals invest in the U.S., start businesses and stuff like that. So if you need any of those contacts, I'll share them with you. I got a really good guy that he set up people in business, French nationals from Europe in the U.S. He set up a lot of people. A lot of it's been real estate, because at the time he was setting up, the interest rates were zero and almost negative in France. So they were buying houses. Another friend of mine was buying houses, like with their retirement, they'd buy it cash in like Ohio somewhere, and they would probably make 6 to 8%, but they loved it because they were making negative over there, And then they also have assets in the US dollar. So granted, they still have to pay. There's some tax implications, but it's far less than in France.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double win, and there's some of the stipulations where you can't really take full advantage of certain of the tax implications being a foreign national. But it's still advantageous over France, because their tax structure, I know, is pretty heavy. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know it's a lot more than what we pay. But glad to share any of those contacts. And I have a new friend of mine that was at my meetup, and he built out like a quick property estimator and stuff where you can do multiple at the same time. It's just a Google extension. He was a software engineer, and I'll send it to you, see if you can break it or mess with it, see what you think about it, because I know you're probably looking at places probably in San Diego and stuff, see if it's helpful to you and stuff. And then because you can do multiple of them, it's not really to do the drill down real heavy into all the analytics of the property, but it's more to make a decision like, okay, I can make an offer on this one, and this one, rather than spending hours trying to figure out, is this even going to fit my criteria? You just helps you weed out all the bad ones and stuff. And then I have a guy that's doing that for commercial property as well. So that one's a little more intensive because the data is harder to get, and it's not as some of the access to some of the data is old. Unfortunately, in real estate and in a lot of segments, you see like a lot of, I want to say, a lot of stuff tech-wise are decades behind, in a lot of things, which is unfortunate. It'll get there pretty soon, because the amount of paperwork and stuff you have to close on a property, and it taking weeks, when you can buy a car now without even going to the dealership. They'll drop it off at your house.
Yeah, I mean, it's real estate's a bit archaic, but
Yeah,
I'm suspecting that like all the revelations in AI and all the processing power will just make, there'll be a more efficient
yeah,
system real soon.
yeah. I'm seeing it starting to happen in certain things, and it'll keep going. But the main thing is the title and stuff. Title transfer is the tough part, where you have title agencies, you have all the attorney fees and everything that they're locked in with all that stuff. And, all those records should be just online and publicly available. You know what I mean? That stuff should be on the blockchain or whatever already so that you can look it up and
Yeah,
go, okay, all this stuff is here. This is the last appraisal. That was the last inspection. That was that. And then it's like, then you don't have to do it every single time. And because we had an issue with this 8 unit that we bought and sold that was in West Palm Beach, and we were going to sell it, and the title insurance company, they said, hey, wait a minute, we did a title search and there's a lien against the property from 3 years ago. And we said, well, we've only had it for 8 months, and you guys were the ones that were the title insurance company when we bought it. So
yeah,
that's on you. That's not on us. Like, you didn't catch this. We're not paying a dime. You guys have to, that's what we're paying the insurance for. But it's stuff like that where the same company didn't catch the same from the same property.
yeah. That's crazy.
My partner was like, what do we do? And I was like, well, they gotta eat it because that's what we're paying them insurance for. And if they don't,
Yeah,
they don't, then there's something wrong here. They need to give us our money back for what we paid when
and
we closed initially and now. And I said, because we're not paying for a lien that's 3 years old. That should have been cleared before we even,
consider buying it. Yeah,
Yeah, we before. I mean, and I think the thing was might have been a couple of thousand or something like that. For in the grand scheme of it, it wasn't a big deal with some fines with the city or something like that. I don't remember, but it wouldn't have been something that would have stopped the deal from going through. But it would have been okay. We have to the seller would have to clear that up before
yeah.
transferring, and that kind of stuff. But no, just some of those things that could definitely be streamlined.
Yeah.
What are you seeing and what are you using for AI for like what you're doing?
I've kind of I've kind of taken a bit of a back foot just because I've had to start prioritizing certain things. I'm not getting to all my boat work with how busy the yachting investors getting, and we've had a big change up. We have a new captain, new
Oh,
deckhand, new engineer. So I'm the only one on board that's been there for a long time.
oh,
So
okay.
it's definitely up the workload because I'm doing a handover with the captain whilst training a green deckhand and then
Mm.
showing the new engineer where everything is. So I've really had to become a full-time yachty again.
Yeah, you didn't have it.
So,
You don't have it optimized anymore
yeah,
for
yeah,
because you don't have the
yeah.
right people in the right position. But it'll come back. I mean,
It will come back.
The other guys left because they didn't want to stay in San Diego, I guess.
Yeah, well, our captain was going to be leaving for a while. He's gone into brokerage, and we took a very long time to find a right captain because it's a very unique program.
Yeah,
So it's not for everybody, and it's pretty tough employing a captain with enough experience to get on the insurance, that is willing to leave the East Coast life behind.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so we ended up formulating a 5 week on, 2 week off deal for him because he lives in Fort Lauderdale with his young family,
Oh, okay.
or a South African guy. So my first time in years working with another South African on board. Actually, our boat has been very, very American.
Albert.
And
Albert. Hmm. Oh, Albert.
and
Your last captain or this one?
Antonio. Antonio was the last
Oh,
captain,
Tony. That's right.
and
Yeah.
and this guy's name is Damien, and seems really nice. Seems really screwed on. It's just the program has changed a lot. We used to be an extremely busy charter boat on the East Coast, and now we're basically on standby for the owner on the West Coast, and he's got a very pregnant fiance. So
Oh,
it's been, it's
interesting.
been, it's been interesting to say the least. But the crew, I must say, the crew in general like it. The ones that stayed, because there's a lot more to do here in your
Yeah,
free time. You know, like there's
outdoor stuff. Yeah,
there's really good concerts all the time. We go hiking, we go
oh
surfing.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's
You can
a
go down to
life.
Mexico. You
Exactly.
can go to Catalina. You can go up to LA. It's just
Yeah,
very, very, very expensive. I mean, there's Florida has its, you can go to the islands and stuff, but you don't. It's very, the terrain is just flat. That's it.
yeah.
Like there, you can go to all the different climates in San Diego. You can go to the desert. You can go up in the mountains. You can go skiing
It's
not too far
awesome.
away. You can
Yeah.
go, Arizona and all that stuff. It's pretty expensive though, so hopefully you guys are being paid on the West Coast wage.
It's a bit of an eye opener. Like everything, like from gas to rent to
Yeah, just
just go
food.
to grocery shopping. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah,
It's been eye opening.
yeah,
That's
I
why
did it fun.
I'm kind of having to do these coaching calls so my lifestyle can keep up with its
Yeah,
expenses.
you're gonna need a third job to,
Yeah,
to keep everything going. No, well,
yeah,
it's a definitely a different lifestyle. The weather is absolutely the best. I mean,
yeah.
I saw the thing where I remember we were at the marina downtown. Which marina are you guys in San Diego?
So when guests come, we go to downtown to Fifth Avenue Landing.
Yeah, that's where we were. Yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, we're based in Shelter Island Marina, which is really
Oh,
nice.
yeah, that's right down. It's a pretty big marina.
It's gigantic, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of crew amenities. There's jacuzzis and swimming pools and tennis courts and
gyms. Yeah,
gyms. So it's nice for the crew. Fifth Avenue is nice because you're in downtown, like for the guests, but for the most
yeah,
part, plus it's unaffordable. It's
yeah, yeah,
like $16 a foot or something
yeah,
ludicrous
yeah.
like
It was
that. So
pretty. Yeah, I remember there was a really good. We went to a really good gym over there. It was only a couple blocks from the boat. It was really, really nice.
yeah,
Probably one of the nicer ones I've ever seen. But it can get pretty pricey down there. But we would go down to was it South Logan on the other side
yeah.
of the bridge where stuff was not as pricey. The food was good. They get a lot of good Mexican food and stuff like that. But
Yeah, no, it's cool. And to be honest, I think I've already seen just with people I've met around here, I guess it's more expensive, but there's an opportunity cost of not being here. There's a
yeah,
lot of business being done. There's as much as things are more expensive, you also get paid more
yeah,
for
yeah,
anything. Like I'm already looking at a lot of little like side hustles.
yeah,
For example, the water here is incredibly hard. Like
yeah,
our boat's internal filters can't keep up. Like I've never dealt with so much watermarks on the boat after washdowns and stuff.
yeah.
And my future father-in-law, my fiance's dad, he owns Spotless, the water softener
Spot Zero
company.
or Spot?
His is called Spotless. It's a bit
Okay.
more recreational, but I'm going to look at going to all these marinas, and he's got little portable ones, so
Yeah,
you can pull them on wheels and put them at the end of the dock. It's all finger docks where two boats share
yeah.
a finger, and then basically rent these little things out to them on washdown days.
Mm.
Um, so I'm gonna look at doing that for a little like side income, and
Yeah, or even.
it's a pain point for me personally. So I know that
Hmm.
it's gonna be a pain point
Yeah,
for other people.
there's always some leverage there. I mean, definitely you
Yeah,
could just buy those and rent them out just to the marinas in general, just to
yeah,
by the day, even other even still you're looking at. You could go to all the high-end car places. You could go to all the because they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to need,
yeah,
the dealerships and stuff like that. That probably saved them a lot, for saving their cars and stuff. The guy washing the cars. It's just so many ways to do it, but there's always a optimal way to do it.
Always opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is America. There's just so many things. The problem is sometimes you end up trying to do too many things, and it gets really complex. So, like what we're saying,
That's the whole
simplicity.
thing.
Got to focus on the
Yeah.
one thing. That's why
Yeah.
I remember you were looking at doing the working in a different facet for for your boss, and then you started the yachting investor, and you're like, no, I got to just do the yachting investor, and that worked out a
Yeah.
lot better because it's only been what, maybe 6 months,
Yeah.
since you
Hmm.
started, and it's great, and it's just, I mean, this is just the beginning, and just goes to show you, like, when you start something, you never know
It's
where
going to
it's going
end
to go,
up.
if you're going to keep going. Because I know for myself, starting in the real estate stuff, just I started with just buying this single family houses, and now we're doing a fund, and it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar fund, with all the assets that are going to be in there and the strategic partnerships we have. So you never know. You just got to get started, right? I mean, this.
That's it. And the doors open from there.
Yeah, and what I really like about doing that is it kind of opens up your mind to where you're open to meeting more people, and then you just end up meeting more and more people doing some pretty
Mhm.
impressive things, and it's like I didn't even know there was groups for these kind of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, and they're all in one room.
Yeah.
you
So,
know,
what did you have in mind for today
we're just talking. A lot of the
and the
same stuff we're
chats?
talking. Yeah, yeah, not a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here. Mine is pretty free form, the podcast, so we kind of just
Yeah.
take up, like, because we've touched on a lot of these same subjects. Really what I wanted to talk about is kind of help you promote your letter, and your newsletter and your coaching program, because that seems to be helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
What can I do to help you to get it to the next level, or what do you see as the next level for the yachting investor coaching program?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely ratcheting that up like hard now and kind of building a system where, like it's one thing, the personalized one-on-one coaching, it takes a set 45 minutes to an hour, but
Hmm.
it's more about building a structure around it where there's preparation, going to them, like, because at the moment I just send off a list of email questions to kind of help me prepare. But the next step is to really build it into a full automated system where
Course.
there's support before, then there's a workbook to work on afterwards. There's consistent support, and the support, I'm going to have to start building things like, either a chatbot or a catalog that's very easy to
Yeah.
use, where the FAQs can be answered, that doesn't require my immediate
Yeah.
response. Because a lot of this stuff is I'm repeating the same answers the whole time, and it's just
Yeah.
becoming a little bit inefficient.
Yeah, well, you should think about also is just doing some, potentially, they don't have to be whiteboards, but you do some just videos with FAQs and like similar
Yeah.
questions, and just put it in your bank. Like, say, when you have the subscription based model, they can go and look at all those different modules and stuff, and they have that in there. They can access those. It wouldn't take you, but you maybe every Saturday or Sunday you spend a couple hours making some videos, and then just
Yeah.
having those there, because people resonate a lot, really well with the videos, because,
They do.
and then you can chop them up and put them on your social media as well,
Mhm.
which is helpful, because then people see you doing it. And I think, because we did that with some of the FAQ stuff for some of our real estate stuff, and it worked pretty well, because like those were always the same questions over and over and over again. And not that you don't mind answering them, but it's just if they have that template before and have access to it. I like your worksheet, like questions to answer before you get on the call. That's really great.
Yes.
And then the
Yeah.
workbook after. You can even have them on a digital tracker or something like that, where you can compare
Yeah. Yeah. See
where they
live.
were where they were before and where they are now, and just get to see the progression. Then they see, stuff like that is going to be really helpful. And I need to go back and revisit my finance a lot more often than I do.
Yeah. You're too busy making new deals now.
Yeah. Well, you still got to track it. If it's not measurable, it's not manageable. So
that's it. That's it. So yeah, that and also incorporate, because I've got all those WhatsApp communities for the yachties, but now it's really kind of branched out, like I've completely separated the yachting investor with all the Sapphire Yachty community, because it's a lot more international. So each person that does a call with me ends up on like this bit more like exclusive inner circle type of community chat.
yeah.
And then thanks, baby. And then that serves as a bit of an accountability group, because they can share like little victories. Yesterday, the one girl finished paying off her student loan debt.
Nice.
And she was sharing that, and then people were like encouraging her. So that's community is the
building.
superpower here. It's
building a community.
And I've subconsciously been doing that for many years without really knowing where it's going to end up on. And now I'm really, really picking the fruits of it, because I have like I have 3,500 yachties on my WhatsApp communities. So it was very early. It was very easy to start scaling the yachting investor from that point, instead of starting from a complete zero. Because there was credibility built, even though it wasn't necessarily in finance. It was more in like helping people with visa stuff and advice on deck products. But once people start seeing your name and like, okay, he's clearly helping people, especially for free, then when a product or a service launch like the coaching, okay, maybe we ought to pay a little bit of money for the information.
Because we've created a lot of value there over the years. Because I ran into a similar thing when we started the meetup group for that, and then that helped a lot, because we've been doing it for now 4 years. And actually, what's really been more helpful was collaborating with the other groups that were at the same time. And now it's kind of all different types of people. It's not just people on yachts. It's a lot of business people, a lot of real estate people, which I see that, because I've always kind of wondered, like, how do I optimize this and monetize this, and then I end up taking on another thing, and it's like, well, I need to just stick to what I'm doing. Maybe I can hand this to somebody and have them start doing it, or what have you. You know what I mean? Getting that in. And I just thought of something is maybe we should at some point we should do a live event and ask people to come in, and we just talk. They come in, ask questions about real estate, finance, yachts, what have you. We should definitely do that, because I think it would provide a good value for people. Because
well, I actually wanted to put that on our agenda for today, because I was been asked by Grand Yacht Crew, who's a new platform. They kind of building an app to bring all facets of yachting under one roof. They've asked me to run their finance community. Like they creating like a financial support hub. For Yacht Crew, and I wanted to do a live webinar, like a Q&A thing with the CEO of that company, and then with you and with Liam. And kind of just have people, they can send in questions beforehand, so we can do a bit of preparation for some of them. But for the most part, just kind of a live Q&A thingy, and that can be really good marketing.
I'd be into that, because I think it would be, it would provide great value for other people, and it would just kind of help each of us promote each other, because I think the more stuff we can do where we collaborate, we can see like it'll only be more beneficial, because there's together we can do more. And there's more things, and I think you and I get along well, so the dynamic is good.
It's easy.
So it's easy. We just start talking, and that's really most of what my podcast ends up being. Is I just record it and we just talk, and then our assistant there, she who's amazing. Thank you, Noella.
Yeah, this goes out to you, Noella. No, thank you for introducing me to her, because she's done an incredible job so far.
Yeah, and she's on top of it. She learns, and she just keeps getting better and better at all this stuff. And then I highly recommend anyone, if they feel overwhelmed or what have you, just hire. I'll find all the tasks that you don't want to do. Get some or are not good at. Find somebody that can do it.
I think that was the single most important thing I've done, because I really get stuck when it comes to, like, I have all the information, but I struggle to put it onto a pretty canvas or PDF. It kills me. So she's really good, and she's been taking a lot of initiative, especially when I went a bit quiet. She started coming at me with ideas, and a lot of those ideas have turned into really cool, like, digital assets that's now serving as, like, all the lead magnets to get more subscribers and more listeners.
She's good at the lead magnets and all those things, and
very much,
and the editing videos. And I mean, she made my background back here, and mine was pretty generic, not too great in the beginning, but it's okay. It gets better and better and better. But I see us doing a lot of different things, and I think this is just kind of, I say this like every day to myself. It's like this, I'm just getting started. This is just the beginning. I mean, it's
that's it.
Not even I probably can't even fathom what it's going to be like in 5 years, 10 years,
Same.
But it's going to be great. It's because it's been great. It's given me access to a lot of people and helped me bring access to a lot of other people. Like, a lot of people don't know that they have access to all these things. And
you're right.
That's really what this is all about. People shouldn't be afraid to ask these questions. And, it's one of those things where we grew up, where it was, you don't talk about money. It's not polite. But that's probably one of the things that keeps people poor. It's because they don't talk about it. We talk about everything else. You're not supposed to talk about religion or politics. That usually gets really messy. It usually gets really messy because everybody's got their ideas. But finances and stuff, it's there's no one way to do any of it. It's just and people have to realize that also, is that what fits me doesn't necessarily fit what you're doing in your life. We're different. One, we're different timelines. Two, we have different goals, different risk tolerances, different different ideas about what we want to do. So I would imagine in your coaching program, you probably take a pretty nuanced approach based on the feedback you get from each person. Talk a little bit about that, and like how you kind of go about just kind of making a plan for someone.
So basically, as I mentioned before, I send out a pretty generic list of questions that helps me determine what the goals are for each set client. So someone that's 21 years old and just started out in yachting and just got their first paycheck has a very different obligation than the 45-year-old engineer with a wife and 2 children and a mortgage. So that initial point of contact is really important to me, to get the feedback from them. Sometimes they're not very thorough at responding, and that makes my job a bit more difficult come the first phone call. But that kind of helps me narrow down, like, what's our main priority? Are we trying to build you a plan to pay off debt? Are we looking at minimizing your tax burden in a legal sense? Or are we looking at really, like, putting your capital to work and building, like, a serious portfolio for you to retire with one day? And all of this I always tread very carefully because I'm not a licensed financial
Yeah.
advisor, so I
Same
don't
here.
provide. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer.
Yes,
I
disclaimer.
don't
Nor am I an
insert. Yeah,
attorney or a CPA.
exactly. So
Please
all of that
consult your
stuff,
professionals.
and I've come to realize that they really much prefer speaking to people like us because it's a bit more relatable. We use
Yeah.
human terminology. We don't scare them off with like massive
Yeah.
scary financial jargon
Yeah.
and terminology.
And
So
because, yeah, everything has working on yachts, we have our own language as well. Finance has
exactly,
its own language. Real estate has its own jargon. But it's really the same. It's all the same stuff. We just use different words for these things. So it sounds a lot more complicated than it is. And what I always tell people is I can only tell you what I've done and what I did
that's it.
wrong and what I did right. And I think if you can learn from other people's mistakes, that's a big accelerator. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think where the value really comes in is like you just said, I speak from my own experiences. I'm like, okay, this is what has worked for me. And I
Yeah.
take a very transparent approach. I tell
Yeah.
them exactly how I've done everything. I show them exactly how much I've earned, even give them little tips on like negotiating a higher salary on your yacht, using
Hmm.
certain negotiation tactics to go speak to your captain and tell them,
Yeah.
hey, this is where I add value and this is why I think I earn more, so that you have more money to deploy into
Yeah.
other investments. And I think where the value really comes in is each person gets a tailored plan made for them. So I will literally ask them to show me exactly how much they make, what their fixed expenses are. And then for the first session, we normally just try and minimize all their costs. You'd be surprised how many people don't look at small things like they pay for Netflix twice, or
Hmm.
their phone bill could be renegotiated to, instead of being $120 per month, it can only cost them $40 a month. Small amounts like that really add up over time, because
Hmm.
compounding works both ways, right? It works
Yeah. When your
positive
expenses.
and
Yeah.
negatively. So basically, kind of like break the back of like where are you wasting money, and
Hmm.
then whatever we have left, how to deploy it into very simple instruments. If someone's goal is they want to solely invest in real estate, I'm like, okay, well then, until that amount is large enough for you to put a deposit down,
Yeah.
let's get that money working in a high yield savings account or a money market account or something, and allocate an X amount of your salary every single month to go in there until that amount is large enough so that you can enter the market. For
Hmm.
people looking to invest into the stock market, the barriers of entry is a lot lower. So for
Hmm.
them, within the first month, as soon as we build up the emergency fund so they can have a
Yeah.
contingency fund, then we can start putting your money to work. So there is a lot of nuance,
Yeah.
case by case. Some people, some people, it's not just about the quantitative measures. Like it's not just about the numbers. It's more the money psychology.
Yeah.
So won't name any names, but I have a student that I'm working with now who came to me. She was very vulnerable, very open, and mentioned, I have a severe spending problem. She's a chief stewardess. She's been in the industry for over a decade. She has
Yeah.
very little to show for it.
Oh
And
no.
she's finally taken the step saying, it's time for me to kind of get my stuff together. I don't foresee me doing this for very long. So I need to make sure that however long time I've left. So for her, it was more getting her out of the keeping up with the Joneses trap and getting her
Yeah.
mindset primed to be like, your Gucci bag is not an investment.
No, it's not.
Because she had this she's like, yeah, but I'm always gonna I can always sell my Louis Vuitton luggage bag for a bit more. I'm like, listen, that's not how it works. No one on the
No.
secondhand market, like it's not a
Yeah.
it's a depreciating asset. So I kind of first had to work through those type of barriers with her,
Yeah.
and can now say that she is debt free and her money is now going to start working to get her into the positive side of things.
Right.
So it's those cases are like very near to my heart because it's people that really come from a place of vulnerability and they're like, I need help. Like I've been working my ass off for many years. Yachting's not an easy job, and I have nothing to show for it. So
that bugs me. That really bugs me when I see that in any line of work where somebody's done something for so long and then they, I was reading where this guy was living in Connecticut and he was a fund manager and he had $1 million, however many millions of dollars houses was, and he had two Rolls Royce Phantoms, matching ones, and then he had the jet, and he was negative every month. And I'm like, so it doesn't really matter how much you have, it's it's how much you keep. And then before I forget, there was this tool I've been using probably for the last maybe year and a half. Have you ever used it? It's called Rocket Money.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The expense tracker.
It tracks all the expenses, and it also gives you all the contacts for all the subscriptions you're paying for. Because when you mentioned that dual Netflix, I was like, I just realized that I've been paying for 2 Netflix accounts, and I was like, why do I have 2 Netflix accounts? Because it happened when they started, when you could use one account anywhere you want, and then they started doing, and I didn't realize this, so I'm gonna have to call them up and get one of them canceled. And that's just a simple thing. All those little things add up. It could be hundreds of dollars every month, but it ends up being thousands every year. And then
that's exactly
those
that.
Little things you can do that, and then I would also mention always have a time and a purpose on the money. Like you're saying, real estate. This is in 2 years I'm gonna have enough money to buy a house, or 3 years I'm gonna save up enough to start this investment account that's going to be for my kids' education or what have you. It just, as long as you have a time and a purpose on it, that makes it pretty simple. Because then you say, oh, this is my retirement money, this is my life insurance money, this is my stock trading account. This is for, I'm going to buy my daughter a new car in 2 years. That kind of thing. And my friend told me that a long time ago, probably 25 years ago, and I've always stuck with that. Anytime I get stuck with, I don't know what to do with this money, is like, well, time and the purpose, and then go back to it, and it makes it easy. Like your client you were just mentioning, like time and the purpose. Like, well, my purpose is to pay off all my debts, or what have you. So, all right, we're going to put together this amount every month, pay that off, and eventually it gets there. If you just do it that way, it's really that simple.
It is that simple. It boils down to spend less than you make and live below your means and invest the rest. It's that simple. So I've been working really hard at building a lot of different resources, which is all free, and we can tag them in the show notes and all those type of things.
We can definitely do that. And any other stuff that you want to promote, please feel free to send it to me, and I'll gladly promote it or whatever, because your stuff is really good. I wanted to commend you on your that last newsletter. I really liked it because it was really very open, and how you just broke it down on what you have done. And it was a pretty simple, easy process that everyone can follow, and that anybody can do it, because the amounts don't really matter so much, but the process is there, and you can start, you always start with a little bit, and then it builds up over time. 6 years, it's no small task what you've done, but it's right there in the plan, and before you know it, the 6 years is going to go by anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not intentional about getting that to work, it's not going to happen. You keep on moving the goalposts. You're like, okay, I'll start investing next year, or I'll start that business next year, or just like most humans on earth never follow through with their New Year's resolutions. It's the same thing. If you don't do it right now, it's not going to be done. So that newsletter did really well, and it definitely it opened me up to a lot of criticism, which I did expect, and it's fine, because it means I'm doing something right if you start pissing off certain people. So
I like it.
I like it too. So, and it was really good, because I often find it hard, especially on the topic of finances. It's tough to listen to people if you don't have like a proven track record. If they don't
Yeah,
show you exactly what they did, it's like the old saying of like a chef he's got to eat his own cooking. Like
yeah,
you got to practice what you preach, and by being so open about my exact path to where I'm at right now,
hmm,
that's a great thing I send now to people before the call, because I'm like, look, there's some background about me. It's all in it's a 15-minute, it's a pretty thorough newsletter. So go read that blog article, go see what I mean, and then come back to me. And it kind of opens their minds. This is not just theoretical, like it's actually
yeah.
happening in practice.
Applied. Yeah,
It's a
it's an applied
it,
process.
it's about, and I mean, Scott, I didn't do, I'm not some magical stock
No.
picking genius. I did the
Yeah,
most simple thing on planet Earth, and just spend less than I make and invest the rest religiously,
yeah,
and build a system where it's so automated that I don't even think about it. It's funny, a lot of the coaching clients, they frequently ask me, they're like, oh, but I don't think I have as much time as you to spend on like all this money stuff. I'm like, guys, I spend no more than 30
no.
minutes a month on my finances. It's all automated.
Yeah, you
I
can do
get
that.
I get my paycheck, it goes into my brokerage account, it has recurring buy orders on the same day of each month, regardless of the price. That means number one, it's a habit. And number two, it forces me to ignore the news. When
Yeah,
all of this tariff nonsense happened and the markets were going up and down and up and down, I didn't even pay attention because I
yeah,
have a strategy in place. It's automated. I built a net worth tracker and a budgeting tool, which I also share with Yachties, that tracks all my thingies on Excel. And it takes me 30 minutes a month to input some things manually. The rest is done via Rocket Money. And then that's it. That's the only time I spend. So you only need 30 minutes a month
yeah,
once your system is installed. And
yeah.
that's the big breakthrough that I'm trying to make with the
Yeah,
Yachties.
and if you're, like we were saying, if it's measurable, it's manageable. If you're looking at it, often, you can see where everything's going, seeing what you're doing, and that's I'm guilty of that as well. I need to measure that more often, and actually sit down with my wife. We need to do that more often because now we have two
Yeah,
kids in college and stuff, so things don't get any cheaper.
that's for sure.
But it's fine though, because if you're looking at it, then you can come up with a solution. There's no easy way to do any of it. It takes quite a bit of planning and work, but the initial plan might take a little bit longer. But once, like what you're saying, everything's automated now with all these tools and trackers, you
Yeah,
can have the money come out every month, or however often you get paid, every week or every 2 weeks or what have you. And I did that a long time ago with my retirement. Just automatically comes out, so that's there, life insurance, all that stuff. And so it's easier because it doesn't go into your hands. Like if you have it
yeah.
sitting there in the account and you have easy access to it, it's much easier to make it go away.
It's a out of sight, out of
Out of
mind.
mind, yeah, yeah, it most definitely is. I mean, because it's one of those things where you see it happen all the time. Like if you see with the charter tips, for example, you give each one of the crew members, maybe they make $5,000 or whatever in a tip just to make it easy. You see which ones are the responsible ones, which ones are, some of them are broke the next day.
Yeah, I mean they go straight from the pickup to Atlantis.
Yeah,
They
yeah, the
put the
casino.
they put the entire tip on red, and then if they hit it, they win, and if not, they come back sulking and say, "Captain, I lost my tip."
Yeah, yeah. Well, sorry.
Yeah,
It's like
unlucky.
I can't, I can't help you, And then some people just blow it on all kinds of stuff. But that bothers me a lot because I'd hate to see a squandered opportunity, especially
Yeah,
something like that where, I'd like to see more like where more yachties getting together and pooling money together and investing together,
syndicates.
starting businesses, buying real estate, doing like more things, like innovative things like you're doing, like I'm doing, just because there's, we're in a pretty exciting time that there's so much opportunity out there that we can do probably some really amazing things together if we just kind of put our
Yeah,
minds to it and put our money in together with it. And and it's just going to be a lot more benefits going forward, because right now, compared to 10, 20, 30 years ago, we have access to more information and more financial tools than we did 20, 30 years ago. In the 70s, you had to have a brokerage account. You paid 6% for a trade, or what have
yeah,
you, and now it's basically almost nothing, with
zero
a
zero
Robinhood.
point two percent. Yeah,
Yeah, it's almost nothing now. And then now you can also advertise about all these syndications and stuff, and there's access there. Granted, you have to be accredited investors in some of
hmm
these instruments, but I think that will change. Where I know they passed a recent rule last year or the year before where you could take a test to become an accredited investor.
hmm
But there has to be some. I don't think they didn't allocate anything for the schooling or what you had to for someone to make the test. So that's going to take a little bit, but I think that would be more fair, because if you understand what all these terms are and how these things work, I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to invest. I mean, you can go, same analogy. The kid that gets his $5,000 tip, he can go to the casino immediately, blow it all.
yeah,
And you can also go and take it and put it in the stock market. But why shouldn't you be able to go and invest in a syndication? I see no reason. It's kind of more of a, for me, it's limiting access than protection. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
I,
That's just my opinion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor.
la, 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 la. This should not be misconstrued.
Dude, yeah. These are just for educational purposes only.
Educational and informative purposes. Yes.
Yeah. I forgot you have to say them in that order.
Yeah, I feel it's that. I mean, it's important. I understand, but it's kind of ingrained in my brain by now. On the topic of real estate, I started a pretty exciting venture, which I think you'll like
Nice.
because you're so into the real estate. So I I'm an investment property owner in South Africa, and I've learned through my three purchases that there are certain hoops you got to jump through to get it done.
Yeah.
Two of my properties was a very smooth process from A to Z. One of them was a complete and utter nightmare. I learned a lot of lessons there, and that kind of was the genesis of this venture I started. So it's called the Smooth Sailing Property Buyers Club.
Okay.
And what we've done, it's totally focused on South Africans because it's foreigners struggle to get mortgages there
Yeah.
for anything larger than 50%. So what we're currently focused on is I've partnered with 18 real estate agents scattered across the country. South Africa has 9 provinces. So we have 2 representatives in each province. These agents send me listings every Sunday evening. They need to send me at least 3 listings in the area. Me and my partners, we vet all of the properties and just make sure that it does in fact have the potential to be cash flow positive, or at least close to in the beginning. And then we have a really cool partnership with 2 transfer attorneys, so people that deal with all the transfer costs and the title and all that stuff. They provide 50% off to all of our clients that go through us. And then we've also partnered with the biggest mortgage originator or home loan originator in South Africa that goes to all the banks on the Yachtie's behalf, gathers all the paperwork, and then gets a lot of different offers from the banks to see how much they qualify for as a loan. So it's basically become a one-stop shop for a yachty who's working abroad, doesn't have the time to scope properties, needs a representative to go and inspect these properties. And then we provide the legal help within South Africa via the transfer attorneys, as well as notaries and apostille services in Florida, so that people can sign power of attorneys all the way from Florida.
DocuSign and all that stuff there in Florida. No, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and it's been incredible. Like we've been getting so much, because a lot of yachties want to buy real estate, and in South Africa it's very, very affordable, especially if you're earning in US dollars. So the yacht crew were initially scared to enter the market because they don't really know where to start, and they also don't know where to find support. So now there's a bunch of us that have gone through properties, and there's no extra costs incurred on the yacht crew. We have a deal with the estate agents where we take 20% of their selling commission.
Okay.
So it doesn't, at the end of the day, the yacht crew saves 50% in transfer costs, which can be as much as $5,000 in some cases.
Quite a bit.
And then same thing, you get free home loan qualifications and hand-holding through. So that's one of the more exciting things that has branched off.
That's pretty
the yachting investor.
Pretty great, because what I will do is I'm going to put you in touch with the guy building my friend John. He's building out that Google extension, and I've tested it. Works great on Zillow and everything else, and I imagine it wouldn't be very difficult for him to apply it to South African properties or what have you, based on the data points. So I'll put you guys together, because maybe you guys could analyze a lot more properties a lot faster.
That would be an amazing tool.
Could be helpful to your guys, and then that way people get, because I used it, I played around with it a little bit, and I thought it would be, I was like, well, when I was looking at residential properties, this would have been really helpful to make me get to a decision a lot quicker, and that's speed of execution can be pretty good. And then do you know Chef Mark Ost? I don't know how to say his name.
Westhuizen.
Yeah, he is doing some stuff in South Africa with some property, and he's there now. He wanted me to look at, because I don't know anything about the South African market or whatever, but he was doing some things with land, flipping some land and looking at buying some other stuff. So maybe there's some traction there for both of you guys too, where you guys can build out something there, because I know he's I think he has a couple properties there as well. So
yeah, he does. We've been in touch over the past few weeks. He's also got his real estate license, so he can be a really beneficial addition. The thing is, I always warn people, South Africa, it's a very, very interesting case study, like especially in socio-economic light of things, because it's just always in the news for something. Like there's just there's a lot of unrest and unpredictability, but
corruption,
but I always
all the
tell
other things,
all those gorgeous things. But I just always tell people that the barriers to entry are so low because of the exchange rate that, like, you can buy a really, really, really nice 2-bedroom apartment in the most expensive zip code in the country for like $100,000, of which you only need to put 10% down. So effectively, you only need about $10,000 to buy a property that's worth $100K and appreciating at like between 8 and 10% per year. You can very often stick a tenant in there that covers more than the mortgage payments. So for me, like, yes, there's risks, there's geopolitical risks, there's crime in the area, etc. But if you're just looking at it purely from a investment perspective and you're not going to live in that property, to me it's a no-brainer. So yes,
it really is.
yes, investing in America is a lot more foolproof. But you need an exceptional amount of money to just put a down payment on a shithole.
Especially Fort Lauderdale, San Diego, LA. Well,
Like,
the thing is that it is definitely, it's much more stable here, but putting more, you initially, to get a few properties, you have to put down quite a bit of money, but then you have to start looking at, getting other people's money, bringing in partners, and that's a whole nother different segment of business, because you have to be very wary of who you do business with. It has to be
yep.
an alignment of interest. If that's not there, if it's, it can be a great deal, but if you have a bad partner, that deal will go south. We've all been there. But no, I think it's very interesting. I'd love to hear more about it, because I know it's, a lot of the guys that I work with, I know could be beneficial for them, because we have quite a few South Africans on the boat, and
Yeah.
if you can take the money you're making here and invest back into South Africa, eventually it'd be great for South Africa.
That's it, and it's kind of, in a weird way, and this is not a math equation. This is more a emotional thing. We've all left our home country.
Yeah.
We've all gotten through the education system. We've all got degrees from universities, but now we're not giving back to the economy. So at least I see my investments back into property. At least I kind of trying to pump up the GDP that is otherwise.
Well, if you're redoing a place and you're providing work, you're providing a place to live for someone. It's, sometimes us as landlords and stuff, we get the greedy landlord and everything. And it's like, well, during COVID, the government paid people's rent, but I mean, sure, you got breaks on the mortgage, but none of those bills, when they're not paying the rent, they don't just stop. You still have to pay property taxes. You have to pay insurance. You still have to cut the grass. You still have to clean the place. You have to do repair and maintenance. You have to pay the manager. You still have to do, all those things just keep going. It's, we're taking the risk to start that business and to provide a great quality service for that resident. So it's, it's not that we're greedy. We're taking the risk, and some people are greedy, but it's all relative, or what have you, but it's not that, we're still running a business. It's, granted, people need places to live, but that's the contract. The lease is the contract. You've agreed to pay for this. If you can't pay for that, we work with the residents, say, hey, look, can maybe we put you on a payment plan till you get back on your feet and stuff like that, because we'd prefer to have somebody that's genuine enough they want to stay in there and keep paying. It's not just the evil, oh, get out, you're not paying.
Yeah. That's a tricky one, and that's a good point, because in our country especially, there's a lot of squatters' rights. You're only legally allowed to evict someone if they are 12 months behind on a rent payment.
Oh, wow. So it's very landlord, very tenant friendly.
Very tenant friendly. So you're like, okay, as if the landlord doesn't also, like you just mentioned, have expenses to incur. And one of my friends recently went through the ringer with this 8 months behind his tenants were. He's working full-time on a yacht in the Caribbean, so he can't go out and then she told him, sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. You got to get people in there. You need to make sure that apartment of yours becomes as unlivable as possible by cutting off the water, like putting fish and eggs and things in the air conditioning, so that they have to get evicted out of there somehow. And that's what he ended up having to do. So
oh man,
it's not always sexy to be a landlord.
Well, and it's not quite. It's not quite. I guess that's kind of a gray area there where you're putting stations. But I know,
it's my house.
Yeah, but I know, being from Jamaica and stuff, same thing. They have squatters' rights, and if they're in there and they squat, they can actually take over the whole place, and it's theirs. But there's also other things in third world countries where you can pay somebody and they will get them out.
Yeah,
not quite. That's the real gray area.
That
you pay somebody and they will be gone. But it's not quite. It's not something you could do here or anywhere else. It's not quite right either. But I heard an old story that a friend of mine, his uncle or somebody had all these properties in New Jersey in the 70s. You know, it's, New York and New Jersey was a much rougher place back then. And when the people wouldn't pay the rent in the wintertime, they'd just take the front door off. So, and I said, well, what happened after that? He said, well, they either pay the rent or they leave.
Oh, they leave, yeah. Or they freeze.
Or they freeze.
Yeah.
One of those two. So
that's really funny.
Yeah, it's a, you know, not quite kosher ways of being a landlord. You couldn't do any of those things these days, and it's not quite. There's reasons why it's not quite right, but like if they can't come out after 12 months, I mean that's. I know there was people in New York and California where it was sometimes it was up to a year and a half, 2 years. People were not paying the rent, and I don't know how they got through other than deferring the mortgage. But what people don't realize with deferring the mortgage, it just tacks on to the end, so that interest is still accruing. So you're paying an extra 2 or 3 years of, you know, or the balloon payment is much bigger, so it doesn't go away.
yeah, but also on the flip side, sometimes you get lucky and you get the world's best tenant. So remember the last time I came on your podcast, I think it was in probably October or November.
Yeah.
I was busy telling you about how I found a new market in my hometown where all the there's a shortage in embassy housing.
Oh, so, that's right. Yeah.
So I actually went through with that deal, and it is definitely the best deal I've made in terms of real estate, where the property was purchased at around 80,000 US. I only put 5% down. My mortgage payment is around 650, 700 US, depending on the currency rate. And the rent is 1,200.
Nice.
So that property was from the get-go cash flow positive. Plus, my tenant is the Japanese ambassador. So
nice.
It's not like I'm dealing with a drunk student.
Yeah, and he's going to be there for several years.
Exactly. They sign a minimum of a 3-year lease contract.
Oh, wow.
They said, and they only spend about 40 to 50% of the year living in the unit. The rest of the time they're back in Japan. So there's less wear and tear in the apartment. The water, the electricity bill, all of that is always really low. So that goes to show you, because if you ask anyone from South Africa, would you ever buy a property in Pretoria, which is my hometown, they would say absolutely not, because there's nothing going on there. There's no tourism. But there's always a gap somewhere. There's a segment somewhere with value. So
there's always there's always a niche somewhere. Somebody's a landlord. There's plenty of people that are landlords there in Pretoria that are making money. So
exactly,
there are business owners that are there making money. So there's ways to do it. It's just
there's ways to do it. So so I've been, because I also fell into the trap of like, in South Africa, once again, as an example, only purchasing in Cape Town, because Cape Town is where everyone wants to go. It's what everyone knows. But because that area is so saturated, like you don't find very good deals there. Prices are inflated and
very competitive.
Super competitive. And like, so I'm just always trying to show people, because most of the people that join our property buyers club immediately tell us, okay, we want Cape Town, we want this, we want that. I'm like, okay, guys, but you're ignoring 8 other provinces that has potential value. So, like, open your mind a little bit and just at least evaluate the other deals, because there's money to be made everywhere.
Yeah, it's real estate is local, so each area, block by block, is going to be different. And you can apply that to all other segments of the economy and stocks and other investing too, because there's just so many different ways and different seasons of everything, that certain things work at certain times, certain things, I would definitely recommend, one of the biggest things for any kind of property is, if there's a huge amount of crime, high crime, probably not a good area. You
Yeah.
can't change the
Yeah.
area. You can't change the area. But if it's like you're saying, the ambassadors, it's right next to the place actually we had my grandmother's apartment in Jamaica was inside the complex for the U.S. Embassy. So a lot of
Oh,
people
awesome.
in the building. So it was very safe. It was a
Yeah.
similar kind of thing. That's why I remember when you were talking about it, I said, that's going to be a great investment if you can get more of those and get more of those connections. 3-year lease. That's not very common in
Yeah.
U.S. real estate. It's usually year to year. That's more of a commercial lease. 3,
Yeah.
5, 10, 12 years, 15 years sometimes, because
And
businesses
like
don't
that,
want to move.
it definitely, and it's made everything so much more hands off, and like that. This is what I call a prime passive investment, because
Yeah,
yeah, yes, I'll deal with if the boiler pops, or if
yeah,
there's something structurally wrong. But for the most part, a lease agreement is clear. You take care of the inside of the house. The maintenance is your responsibility, and I'm just collecting rent.
yeah.
So
And
it's
it's an apartment, so it's in a big building, so
it's
pretty
in a
much
big building, and another value add, the to make extra sure that the Japanese ambassador is safe. The Japanese government is paying for extra security
oh,
to take care of the whole building, on top of the security guards already working there. So it's even created a situation where I can charge more in rent,
oh,
because
nice. So
and
that's a plus plus. Yeah.
to them, like to any South African resident living there, like that would be an unaffordable rental agreement. But for the Japanese government,
Yeah, it's not very much. Yeah,
they
no
like
big
they
deal.
like this is peanuts. I'm pretty sure they pay 10 times that to live in Tokyo. So
Oh, yeah, that's the
plus
most
it's
expensive in the world. Yeah.
exactly. So when it's also just really funny to get a notification saying you've received the wire from the government of Japan. I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? Like, am I a diplomat? What?
Maybe you
So
can get a
yeah,
diplomatic passport.
that I will definitely send a follow-up email after this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice, man. Well, once again, man, it's been really great, man. Appreciate you taking the time here on this beautiful weekend here. And like I said, really proud of you. Really happy about all the stuff you're doing, man. Just keep
thanks,
going with
Scott.
that. I'm anything I can do to help, man. I'm right around, because you got some really cool stuff that you're doing. For people that want to find out more about you and learn about what you're doing, how do they get a hold of you? Like, best way to
So
contact?
I think the best way would be to go to the Yachting Investor website. So that's www.theyachtinginvestor.com. On there, you can find a whole host of things. So I do a weekly newsletter, which is completely free to all readers. That gets distributed via Substack. I'm also the host of the Rich as Fuck podcast, pardon my language, but that's what it's called. And that gets distributed via the Yachting channel, on the Yachting International Radio. That's very similar to what Scott does here. So just get either experts or yacht crew or whoever wants to come and chat for an hour about all things money. And also on the website, you will find a link to the coaching service I launched. So I do one-on-one sessions with yacht crew, help them build a financial plan. Once again, this is not financial advice, purely educational and informative. But that's how you can find me. And honestly, I'm just enjoying the process so much. It's pretty hard to believe that 6 months ago, when I was sitting on a podcast with you, it was merely a newsletter with 150 subscribers, and now there's over 1,000 of them. There's a community of 3,000 yacht crew, all engaging on WhatsApp, talking about money and kind of breaking the stigma of not being allowed to talk about money, because that's just stupid.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. Like I said, I'm really happy, and always happy to have you on, and we'll definitely have everyone look forward to seeing some of these live events that we're planning to do here. Well, those will be
Yeah,
coming soon. I'm excited about that. That's going to be fun,
me
and
too.
that'll be the beginning of something great. I think it will help create a lot of value for a lot of people. But
Well,
I'm
thanks, Scott, as always, for your support, and yeah,
you're
keep up doing the good work.
thank you, man. But this is thanks again, Charl, for being here. But this is the Yacht Captain Investor Podcast. As a reminder that the best investment you can make is investing in yourself. We'll talk to you again next time. Appreciate. Thanks so much, Charl.
Cheers, Scott. Have a lovely Sunday.